So prepare for these next 10 minutes to be incredibly mildly interesting. Ghast noises originate from C418's cat, which he makes when disturbed while sleeping. On planetminecraft.com, the 10th most downloaded map of all time is Hillside Manor World, in brackets 1.8, 4-year anniversary, created by InHaze with over 700,000 downloads. In Minecraft Beta 1.14, the open inventory key was changed from being I to being E. It takes this long to fall 102 blocks. Nice. There are 15 different types of villager professions. Regular walking speed in Minecraft is 4.3 blocks per second. In the original version of the Minecraft Steve skin, Steve actually had a beard. This was removed in the 0.24_survival_test version of Minecraft that was released on September the 1st, 2009. A melon block will always drop between 3 and 7 slices. Wow, we actually got lucky there. A villager's forehead is 5 pixels high, meaning that a villager literally has a 5 head. The Minecraft credits roll for an incredibly interesting 27 minutes and 15 seconds. Minecraft 1.13.2 was released on the 22nd of October 2018. It takes this long to break a gold pickaxe that has been enchanted with efficiency 3. Any second now. Any second now. There. As of Minecraft Snapshot 20W45A, the longest item name is Waxed Lightly Weathered Cut Copper Stairs. When a pufferfish puffs up, it expands to 0.7 blocks by 0.7 blocks, giving it a volume of 0.49 blocks. Huge. The dead bush was introduced on May the 25th, 2011. On the Reddit post, "What's your least favourite block in Minecraft?" the top voted comment was diorite. And that comment was not made by Iskal. The longest Minecraft username you can have is 16 characters. I've just opened up the Minecraft Java Edition title screen, and this is what the little yellow text says. If you change your language to pirate, then a netherite shovel becomes Blackbeard's spade, a piston becomes a raised deck, and chisel sandstone becomes carved stoner sands. This is what the world seed "I have very long legs" looks like. That might take a little while for the world to generate. You know, this is not something I really thought about, the fact that I would have to fill in this space by talking. But, you know, we're getting there. 50%, 70%, 90%, and here it is. That's rather lovely, actually. If I jump off this 23 block high platform with my head tilted 18 degrees downwards wearing an elytra, this is how far I go. Splendid. There are 3,264 pixels on a Minecraft skin, 8 of which are made up by my mustache. If I generate a new world with a bonus chest, this is what arrives in my bonus chest. There it is. Let's see what we've got. They're actually a lot better than I ever imagined. You know, I've never played with a bonus chest before. If the Minecraft Steve character model was a real person, then his biceps would be 39.5 inches around. Which is ridiculous. To put that in perspective, Arnold had 22-inch biceps in his heyday. Hang on a minute, did I just give you some useless information which wasn't Minecraft related? That's illegal. In the top left-hand corner of the F3 screen, you can see a 2-digit number followed by the letters TX. And this means the number of packets that have been sent by your Minecraft client. This is what a field of view of 104 with speed 1 looks like. The music disc Cat has a runtime of 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And honestly, I kind of wish it was longer. I absolutely love this song. You used to be able to take huge Minecraft screenshots that were the equivalent of a 645 megapixel photo, which is frankly obscene. Lady Agnes joined Mojang on August the 3rd, 2016. The world seed that was used for the pack.png image was 325-784-038-850-495-3787, and it was discovered by a huge team of people. This is what the pack.png seed looks like when generated in Minecraft 1.16. If you have 36 apples and you have 6 meat sticks to fill up, then you will be left with 33 apples. The 47th item listed in the decoration block segment of the creative menu is the chorus flower. A redstone lamp has 30 different segments in total, with 5 segments on every face. It takes this long for me to open my Minecraft redstone testing world. That's actually a lot faster than I was expecting it to be. It takes 6 blocks to craft 4 stairs. So that means that each stair costs 1.5 blocks, despite the fact that stairs are 0.75 blocks. This is what the clouds currently look like directly above my head. I'm going to be honest with you, it's incredibly unexciting. The title of the third category in the advancements window is husbandry. It takes this long to die from drowning when you don't have any protective armor or anything to stop you from dying a horrible, painful death. I'm going to be honest, it's a bit of a slow death as well. And gradually my breath is running out. I can feel myself gasping for air. Now I'm inhaling water. My lungs are filling with fluid. I can feel the world closing in around me. I'm on death's door. And now I'm gone. That's a horrible way to go. Things got a little bit dark there, didn't they? There are 471 items in 7 stacks and 23 items. This is a very odd redstone circuit that I recently found in my redstone testing world, and I can't work out for the life of me what it's meant to do. The 14th fastest random seed Minecraft 1.16 plus speedrun is by Julius the Tiny Dog at 20 minutes and 32 seconds. Placing 11 pieces of TNT 1 block apart creates an explosion that looks a little bit like this. That is very mildly satisfying, isn't it? This is what an 8-tick redstone clock looks like. If I right click this note block 10 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this one 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and play them both at the same time, this is what it sounds like. Awful. You cannot put a shulker box inside another shulker box, no matter how hard you try. Setting the random tick speed to 421 makes bamboo grow incredibly quickly. I mean, look at that. If you dig straight down on seed 991-62322 at coordinates x206 and z19, you will... not fall into lava. If you set the time to 43,690, this is what it looks like. Before block IDs were totally phased out from the game, the block ID of iron ore was 50. It takes this long to climb 11 blocks on a ladder. Nice. A lily pad's orientation is location specific. So say for example, I place a lily pad in this corner here, it will always face in this direction, no matter what I do. Even if I place it like this, I can do whatever I like. Nothing is going to be able to change it. If you shoot an arrow directly upwards, it won't always land on your head. But sometimes it does. Not today. There is an unused potion effect called nausea, and this is what it looks like. I can totally understand why they don't use it because, I'll be honest, it's making my brain hurt quite a bit already. Up until Minecraft Snapshot 17W43A, you could play Minecraft in 3D stereoscope. The Minecraft username hello with 7 O's after it is actually available right now, although I imagine it won't be for long. There are 4 varieties of horse hurt sounds, but there is only one sound for a horse dying. And it's horrendous. 3 snow layers is 3/8 of a block tall. Falling into the void even kills you in creative mode, but it does give you a cool view of the underside of the world as it happens. You can't see your own legs when playing in first person mode. On seed 212, there's a blacksmith with a chest located at X 595, Z 211, and these are all the items that are on the inside of it. Sunflowers in Minecraft will always face east. You can actually place redstone components on the sides and on the top of pistons, but as soon as the piston extends, they get broken. It takes between 5 seconds and 45 seconds to catch a fish in Minecraft. And unfortunately there's no way of knowing if it's going to be 5 seconds or 45 seconds or anything in between until you cast your rod into the water. There really is nothing going on right now. My bobber is just sitting there. Waiting. Waiting. I almost missed it, but I managed to catch myself a pufferfish. Contrary to what a lot of people seem to believe, you cannot actually push a barrel making use of pistons. Pumpkin pie has a 100% fill rate when it comes to composters. That means every single time you put a pumpkin pie in there, it is guaranteed to increase the level of the composter. Whereas beetroot seeds they only have a 30% chance of increasing the level. And wow, are we getting unlucky. It takes 81 pieces of regular ice to craft just one bit of blue ice. If you want to make a tripwire, then you can go into the inventory and search TRI for tripwire, but it will also come up with string, because of course TRI features in the word string as well.
Baby zombies are pests, to say the least. They've got a small hitbox, they're wicked fast, and good luck even trying to fight one of these with grass nearby. So to stay away from these ankle biters, maybe your new solution should be to try and grab a strider instead. Because, as you can see, these mobs are fully capable of walking on top of the other mobs. Sure, a strider outside of lava isn't the fastest, but even then, they completely negate the baby's speed, which gives us a much needed way out of dodge, and one that I'm happy to take at whatever pace they're willing to give me. Easter eggs are almost a rite of passage when you're developing a game, but after they're in, you have to wonder how many players will discover them, if at all. Take the Desert Temple for example. While most of us are focused on the treasure and TNT that lies underneath, there's actually more than meets the eye to the top. You see, this big hollowed out spot in the roof is actually the perfect size for a fully powered beacon setup. Still don't believe me? Well, lay out the blocks as you would anywhere else, and sure enough, there's even going to be a sky roof so that the beacon can power up, which I gotta say is pretty nifty. Torches are the most obvious way to light up a build. They're cheap, you can craft a bunch of them, and they also happen to work pretty well. So most of us don't tend to look for replacements that often. But if you were to take the time and scan through all of Minecraft's various blocks, there's actually a surprising competitor. For some reason, 4 sea pickles actually give off more light than a torch in the same block. No joke, these slimy sea things can outperform Minecraft's most iconic light source. So if you're really looking for a reason to build a pickle farm, at least now you got one. While most of us use fireworks to self-propel our elytras, they do have properties outside of being rocket fuel. And even though we would typically just throw them into a dispenser for a quick New Year's show, actually there's more we can do for that presentation. You see, since these rockets function as entities, there's actually ways that you can move and manipulate them with the game's physics engine. Which in that case, partnering them with a water stream, you can actually move the rocket off course and change the flight pattern. So if you're really wanting that 45-degree angle for your perfect fireworks display, then hey, here's a way to do that. Look, this is an easy one to miss, even if you do happen to be a crazy cat lady. But apparently, if you spawn a cat around a witch's hut in a swamp biome, it's always going to have the black cat texture. Which, come to think of it, makes some sense. After all, calicos aren't exactly known for hanging around a witch's brew. It's gotta be black to keep on brand. But that said, I do think it's kind of funny how black cats are the universal symbol of bad luck, but with a 100% chance of spawning here, luck isn't even a factor. Making this Easter egg weird in a lot more ways than one. Minecraft's code handles item frames in some pretty strange ways, because even though we can pick them up and place them like any other block, or decoration in this case, they're treated like entities. You can see as much when you get a bunch of them in one area. They're sure to cause a lot of lag. But stranger still, if you shoot the item out of one of these with a flame bow, then you'll actually be left with a permanently lit fire frame. Now, it doesn't give off any real light, but I guess it's a new torch design, if that's what you've been looking for. Phantoms are one of the worst pains in the game, and somehow these monsters are always going to find new ways to be a thorn in your side. Case in point, if you ever thought that dealing with phantoms on land was a bad nightmare, then fighting them in water is sure to be a rude awakening. Because, as you can see, the creature of the night sky can do surprisingly well underwater, even attacking you when you dive into the ocean. Nope, not even the water can keep you safe from these terrors. But hey, at least you can sleep down there. I guess that's one way to avoid them. Wither skeletons are generally scary to come across, so just imagine if one of these had the range of the overworld cousin. Well, apparently that's a lot more fact than fiction. If you actually give a wither skeleton a bow, not only does it beef up the attack area, but it also gives it fire arrows to shoot. And in retrospect, it's probably for the best that Mojang didn't give them a bow from the beginning. The last thing the Nether Fortress needs is another flame shooter. Between these, blazes, and gas, you'd be lucky to leave the Nether without a few first-degree burns, let alone not getting burnt to a crisp. Over the years, Minecraft has slowly added in new ways for world generation. And while most of us have messed around on a super flat or amplified world, have you ever seen one like this? This here is called the debug world, and it's a holdover from the game's development process. But you can't access it normally. To get this, you actually have to hold the shift key while you're scrolling through the world options, and then bam, it's there. And honestly, there's not much to do here since you're only stuck to spectator mode, but if you wanted to feel like a Mojang developer, or at least show off a special world to your friends, this is a pretty good candidate. If you want to play Minecraft survival without the added challenge of, well, surviving, then then peaceful mode is an obvious choice. Or so you thought. You see, even though this mode claims to remove all dangerous mobs, one spy seems to have slipped through the cracks. While playing on peaceful mode, the llama is the only mob capable of harming the player. I mean, I know spit is gross, but is it really that bad to be the only damaging thing in the mode? Well, luckily, these animals only attack when they're provoked. So in the meantime, maybe just stick to the truly passive cows for your leather, alright? To put it lightly, beds in the nether do not get along. Although, I don't think the villagers got that memo. You see, even though beds are the equivalent of charged creepers to us, for these guys, they can sleep in them just fine. Honestly, I'm a little jealous. I mean, I would much rather just craft a bed instead of having to fuel up a respawn anchor in the nether. In fairness, they're not able to respawn, so why not let them catch some sleep in the nether anyway? It's not gonna mess with balancing. But my bigger question is, how are they able to sleep with all of that light and lava going around next to them? That I've got no clue. If you've ever gotten rid of a wandering trader, then you know that llamas could be an aggressive bunch. Sure, it's to be expected, they're a neutral mob, but something about getting spat on just adds insult to injury. So if you too are tired of getting saliva sprayed by these bullies, there's actually a way to turn the tables. You see, a shield is decent for blocking, but we can actually go one step further and even deflect the spit. No joke, with a weapon and the proper timing, it's actually possible to hit the spit back at your foe. And now I just wish that it would give you the Return to Sender achievement as well. That'd be amazing. Trapdoors and ladders make a great pair. And because of that, you might have noticed this quirk when you put it in your world. You see, by having a trapdoor like such, you can actually climb it to the top just as you would a standard ladder. But that said, it even works if you put the trapdoors and ladders in a pattern like this. And once you see how we can climb one of these, then it's a lot easier to see how this feature works. But trust me, it's only good for a party trick. Trapdoors are much more expensive than ladders, so you're much better placing your planks on the old favorite. Besides, it even looks better too. I swear, even after playing Minecraft for 9 years, I'm still constantly learning new things to do. For example, I've played Bed Wars and Hunger Games hundreds of times with my friends, meaning I've shared countless pieces of armor, weapons, etc., any item you can think of. And somehow, in all of that time, I never realized that you could just hold down the Q key to throw out a steady stream of items. No, I would never do that. I would always just end up throwing it out of the inventory screen or mashing the Q button instead. And really, I don't know if it's all that practical, but now I know it's there, and maybe you do too. Trapdoors seem to make for pretty lousy traps. I mean, if you stand on top of it, most of us know what it is, so we're not going to be surprised when it flips open. But what these lack as a trap for humans, they apparently make it up as a trap for mobs. You see, if you or I were stuck in this, we just hop out. But the animals in the game, they can't just jump on these trapdoors, so that leaves them stuck inside. But what's weirder is that from the outside coming in, they can even clear the jump. So why the difference? Who knows? But if you want a fence alternative, this might just fit the bill for your future pens. You ever wonder what it's like to be a mob? I mean, there are so many different shape-shifting and morph mods out there that I'm sure you've thought of it once or twice. And while those third-party options will give you one interpretation, there's actually a way to do this in-game. While in spectator mode, if you interact with a mob, you can actually see from their point of view, and some of which even offer up different filters and effects. So whether you want a creeper's green vision, a spider's reflective eyes, or maybe even just to be safe in a shulker shell, then by all means, go ahead and try this feature. Water isn't all that bouncy. A bold statement, I know. But that might be unfortunate, because as you'll soon find out, these fish love to bounce around. And to test that, let's set up a slime block trampoline right over here on dry land. Then all it takes is spawning a cod in place, and you'll see that sucker take off to the moon and back. It looks like it's having a blast, but if you're gonna do this, maybe give the fish a health boost or something, so that this party doesn't turn into a murder mystery. So even though these fish might not like dry air, I think this might make their stay a bit more enjoyable. When Grian Obsidian got added into the 1.16 snapshots, it was exciting for a few different reasons. Obviously, respawn anchors are cool in their own right, but the block actually has a past prior to that. So while you might not have played Minecraft back in 2011, there is still a way to relive that history. When you go into the resource pack tab, you'll see something called program art, and after you turn that on, you'll notice that the Grian Obsidian texture now reflects the old block's glory days. And with that, finally, Jeb's promise of it getting added in was fulfilled. Unicorns don't exist in Minecraft, and call me crazy, but I don't think we'll get them anytime soon. But you know what's the next best thing? Getting to be a unicorn in Minecraft. Kind of. You see, by using the replace item command, it's entirely possible to put an end rod on the player's head and then become your own kind of narwhal. Is it practical? Of course not, but it definitely looks ridiculous. And honestly, the replace item command is just full of so many silly quirks anyway that if you have an afternoon, you might want to get familiar with it. Just mess around and see what you can find. It's well worth a shot. Every now and then, Minecraft just doesn't make any sense. Nowhere is that more apparent than in the differences between Java and Bedrock editions. You see, in Java, we see a gold nugget as just that, something that you can use to craft a gold ingot, but that's about it. But in Bedrock, it's fuel, for some reason. When I first heard of this, I thought, there's just no way. But yeah, if you try it, it does in fact burn. But it's not even a good fuel source. You need about 12 of them just to smelt up one item. But if you're looking to burn some cash, I guess this does the trick. Say you're trying to light up around your base, and you want something more than just a couple of torches. So, to solve that, you crafted a whole bunch of redstone lamps. But now your problem is, how do you power them? Sure, you can use a lever, but that's awkward anywhere you put it. And daylight sensors are only going to be on for part of the time. So, what do? Well, apparently, by putting an item frame on a wooden pressure plate, that gives off enough weight to actually power on the thing. And now you got a constant redstone signal, giving you a sleek and stylish way to keep your lights on. And thankfully, without all the bulky redstone. It only takes one look at the Vanilla Tweaks website to see that Minecraft might have a few texture quirks. And while some of those are mildly infuriating, like the jungle door inconsistency or the smoker's unsymmetrical corners, this one's just plain weird. To see this, place a turtle egg and a diamond into your inventory. Notice any similarities? Here, maybe this helps. As it turns out, the diamond and the turtle egg sprites have the exact same shape. And honestly, I never would have noticed this on my own, but now that I see it, yeah, it's gonna be hard to unsee. Enchanting your items is a great thing. Whether it's a sword, a elytra, even a hoe, there are plenty of different ways to juice up your favorite items. But what might just be the biggest flex of them all is to take something simple like a flint and steel and spice that up as well. I'm totally serious. In case you didn't know, it's possible to actually enchant this thing, even giving it the mending enchantment. And now, if we're being practical, I have no clue why you do this. But to be at a point in the game where you not only can apply mending and breaking to the thing, but also gather enough XP to charge it, that's next level. On the whole, I love the different stone types that Minecraft has added in, but somehow I never seem to have enough when I go to use one. So if you too find yourself running dry on granite, diorite, or andesite, don't sweat it. Because apparently, if you have enough quartz, you can actually craft each of them. And while some of this I get, the granite recipe just makes no sense to me. You need a quartz and a diorite to do it, so someone tell me how 2 white items are able to make this color. Because I've got no clue. But I guess I don't have to understand the logic to use it, and I'll definitely be crafting this in the future. Chairs are a long-wanted feature in Minecraft. So much so that there are more furniture mods than I can count just for this reason. And while any of those would work in the meantime, I wouldn't expect these in a future update. So if that's the case, at least there is one way to make one of these in vanilla. You see, by tucking away a saddled pig, it's actually possible to make a sittable chair in the current game. And then, if you decorate it right, it could actually make for a pretty solid throne in the next castle. But just make sure to expect that your guests are gonna ask why your chair's oinking so much. Every pro's gotta have its con, I guess. Jump boost is great, but it's not always a joy to brew up the potion, especially if you don't have plenty of rabbit's feet on hand. And while there is some way to get more height to your jump by doing damage boosting and the like, maybe let's try this instead. Trust me, it'll be a lot better for your health bar. You see, bubble elevators aren't just useful for getting up to your penthouse apartment. But if you build a formation like this, it actually lets you get off a 2-block tall jump. Sure, it can be tough to time, but when the alternative is lighting yourself on fire, I think the choice is clear. Under the surface, Minecraft has plenty of hidden features that I don't think anyone would find naturally. Like, case in point, let's say you're raiding a woodland mansion, and for some reason, you brought along your trusty blue sheep. But to your surprise, just as you start to fight the evoker, he turns on the very thing you love and makes your blue sheep into a red sheep. Now, that's weird in its own right, but I think it's even funnier that the game rule mob griefing actually can prevent this from happening. Because really, when it comes to mobs damaging your stuff, this is what we're all worried about. Nothing else comes close. Recently, it came to my attention that killing a wither skeleton with a charged creeper actually gives a 100% chance of it dropping a skull, which is cool, but clearly importing creepers to the nether is not that practical. Though, for those on Bedrock Edition, there might be a more viable option. You see, in that version, if a charged creeper kills a stray, then it also drops a guaranteed wither skull. And since lightning and creepers only occur in the overworld, this seems a lot more forgiving. And if you do have Bedrock, then by all means, why not give this a shot and make those Java friends jealous? You don't have to play Minecraft for long to know that Endermen do not like to be looked at. But while a passing glance is enough to get them mad, apparently they're pretty honorable in a staring contest. Sure enough, the next time you look an Enderman in the eyes, all you gotta do is maintain eye contact. Doing that is enough to lock them in place. Seriously, they won't even attack. They'll just stare at you for as long as you stare at them. Now sure, after you look away, they will still attack. attack, but maybe you can take that extra time and even just regen before the fight. After all, if you know that a brawl is coming, why not prepare for it? Sometimes you gotta pick the lesser of two evils. So while sweet berries might be a pain while you're walking around, turns out they're invaluable when it comes to falling. You see, the way that Minecraft calculates fall damage, there are certain things that can reset your fall distance in midair. And as it happens to be, berry bush damage is one of them. Getting pricked by one of these, even if you fall from sky limit, is enough to take away all the fall damage and keep you safe. And if you really don't want to take any chances, this even works with baby bushes, which won't even prick you on your way down, which I'd definitely call a sweet deal. What if I told you that there exists in Minecraft's code a secret rabbit variant? And no, not the killer rabbit you get with this command, but actually something more sentimental. By naming a rabbit toast with a name tag, it'll change into this texture. And what's sweet about that is that this is actually a tribute to a player who lost a pet rabbit with the same name. Mojang, clearly touched by the story, took the moniker and immortalized it for us all to see in game. So if you're looking to honor the poor thing's legacy, throw down that name tag and keep the memory alive.
You see, lava, it's a dangerous thing, and you can pick it up with a bucket. Makes sense, but if you throw that same lava-proof bucket in lava, gone. Doesn't make sense. Now this next one gets into territory I'm not familiar with, but just bear with me, because we all know redstone to work in a similar way to this. You have a piston of some description. You then put a power source next to it. It works. But did you know that redstone can work even if it's not connected? This breaks all the laws of redstone that I know. And if you think that was just a fluke or the way I placed it, nope. That's just how you... Do you know what? We should put the entirety of redstone in here. All of this quasi-connectivity stuff, it doesn't make sense. Who would win in a fight? A literal pool of lava or one prickly boy? Submit the answer on your phones now. You guessed it, the lava does nothing. Yet, one green prickly boy gone. Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Now this one's a bit on the strange side, but I noticed if you use a lead in Minecraft on an animal, this is the first time I need where is an animal? The lead actually doesn't go in your hand. Look, it's kind of, well, it looks like it's going in your armpit. How many people hold their leads under their armpit like this? Wait, no, it's attached to the side of me. Everything else, hold in your hand. So you're telling me in Minecraft, this deals damage, this little flower deals damage, but the giant saw blade does nothing. How is this? This is the most aggressive looking block in the game. How does this make any sense? No, seriously, I was really disappointed when this didn't deal damage. Now, I never thought about this too much, but an anvil, which famously weighs an awful lot, sinks in the water, as you might expect. But if you throw that same heavy anvil in the water, of course, like everything in Minecraft, floats to the top, like it's nothing. Huh. Now in Minecraft, we enchant items by going to this magical book and a whole bunch of knowledge. Well, that makes kind of sense to me. You know, I can enchant stuff. But the way you disenchant something is you use a rock that spins. This implies that you disenchant an item by scraping it off. I just thought it was strange that you repair and disenchant with this. If you have a chicken and you set it on fire like this, when it burns and eventually dies, you end up with a cooked chicken. I'm okay with that. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is if the chicken dies on a literal campfire, you get raw chicken. Surely the same principle applies. Doesn't make sense. Minecraft is a famously goalless game. So why does it have a score? And how did I get 843? What is that number? What does it mean? And why does Minecraft need a score? There's no goal. Doesn't make much sense to me. Here's one for you. We have carpets and we have pressure plates in Minecraft. Both very, very similar. Obviously, one triggers redstone and one is decorative. But for some reason, Carpets are destroyed by water. Pressure plates, seemingly invincible. I feel like they may have been forgotten in the aquatic update. Speaking of aquatic updates, have you ever thought about the fact that there are now tons of literal fish in the ocean, but you don't catch it with a fishing rod? Indeed, you can't capture any of these with a fishing rod. You need to use a bucket. And the only fish you're ever going to catch with a fishing rod will never be the ones you actually see. Talking of buckets, if you're falling in Minecraft, you could place, if you don't suck at the game, a bucket of water on the ground and it will stop you from dying. Let's just think about that for a second. Imagine in real life if you just had a bucket of water as you fell from a plane. If you tried to just throw the water on the floor, pretty sure it's not going to do anything. You'd expect at least 2 blocks of water to break your fall. Doesn't make much sense. Now, we all know in Minecraft we have to cook food to eat. Now, this makes sense. It certainly tallies with real life anyway. But if you want to bake a cake, you gotta just throw the ingredients on this thing. Now, I'm not even going to get into the fact that you need to use 3 whole buckets of milk. I'm more interested in the fact that you do 0 cooking. Could you imagine just throwing all this stuff together and getting a cake perfectly baked? It's nuts. Beacons are insanely... Did I mess up the beacon? I made a beacon way too big. That's embarrassing. Beacons are insanely useful things. They give you haste 2, and coupled with an efficiency 5 pickaxe, you can mine through literal stone instantly. Even granite. Things that should take a really long time. However, something famously as brittle as glass, you have to torment your way through. Now, this really irks me. It makes no sense that glass with efficiency 5 and a beacon takes longer to mine than something like stone or granite. Not only does this not make sense, it kind of annoys me in Minecraft. Here we are in a Minecraft village, and take a look at the scale and size. One villager is quite happy to live in a 3x3 interior space. Really humble and kind of makes sense. You don't really need much when you're living in a small Minecraft house. Let's take a look at how the other side lives. For some reason, pillagers live in this. An absolutely enormous house for such a tiny thing. An absolutely ridiculously large house compared to the 3x3 that they're used to living in. In fact, this one has a village attached to it. Look at the size comparison between this house and this one. What do they need all this size for? Oh yeah, I forgot. It's for storing their giant statues of cats and dinner parties and whatever this is. What do they need all this space for? What are these rooms? Apparently this is what they need it for. Giant wool statues of things. You know what? Let's just put the entire mansion in the thing that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of strange things going on in that house, and I think we should leave. And it looks like the future is also not going to make much sense. Admittedly, this is a snapshot and this may change, but the big drip leaf, you can place an anvil on it, sand, gravel, but if you throw a single feather, it activates it. It just doesn't make sense. So you're telling me it takes longer to punch cobwebs than it does to knock down an entire tree with your fist? Sorry, how does this one make sense? This is something I never really thought about until making this video, but I never thought about how absurd it is that you, the player, can just hop in a waterfall and just fly, just go up like nothing, like gravity doesn't exist, and you can just float on water no matter what it's doing. It's just nuts, and this has been around for so long. Mad. If you fall on a boat, you die. But if you fall sitting in a boat, you're not only A-okay, but the boat also doesn't do anything either. I've always felt that that's a little strange. We need to talk about the relative strength of wheat, because it can hold up and destroy a whole stack of sand and anvils like it's absolutely nothing. But one little hop from a player, kaput. Doesn't make sense. Walking on coals, admittedly, should hurt. That makes sense. But why, when you crouch on it and spend more time on the hot coals, does that mean you have a 0 damage taken? Surely jumping across as fast as possible should be the way to do it, but it's not. You can milk cows infinitely. Just think about that for a second. They never run out of milk. When you fall on slime, you bounce up and down and don't take any damage. That's absolutely fine. Makes sense within the context of Minecraft. Fly into it, it's like a brick wall. Why? Falling in 1 block of water, absolutely fine, no damage. Even half a block of water, no damage. Fall in a cauldron, dead. We all know that Endermen don't like water. A single block, a half a block, but they are quite happy to sit in a cauldron full of water, unless you look at them, in which case, run. Run for your life. Sorry, Dom. Walking through a too high space in Minecraft, no problem. Even if you had a carpet there, absolutely no problem, you can still fit through. If you had a fence gate there, guess what? You can't go through it. And no matter what you do, unless you just walk around it. There are a few inconsistencies in Minecraft, and one of them is that if you place down a pot and a lantern, both pretty similar in size, one of them floats, the other one doesn't. Why?
Bruh.
you